Today, we're going to suck that role-playing juice out of those players to feed our campaign setting using 2 epic tools. Let's go. You still there? I know. That was a little... One of my forefathers of the RPG YouTube world recently said that the DM is not a storyteller, is a conflict designer.
Number 3, the game master is not a storyteller. They are a conflict designer.
I say to you,
blasphemy!
We're both. Let's look at the situation, Dad.
What is our situation, Dad?
If the DM or the GM is not a storyteller, why would I spend all this time doing this? Drawing these maps here with these little circles. I mean, creating these little villages. And look, I created a solar system. Then I upgraded to an even better map. There's the little circles again. Then I have all this backstory and timelines. You know, I don't think I've ever met a dungeon master or game master that has not a preconceived notion about a world. All these different epic events are going to happen, but they often just need some players to go in there, help them flesh it out. You know, most of us don't have groups that have players that start from level 1 and make it all the way to level 20. And, you know, we do hear about these guys that have these groups that have been going on for decades. And, you know, those group situations are very much like people who've been together since high school. It's just not a common thing.
It's like turning air into gold.
So in order for us to really have a good, successful game and really milk those players for everything they got and really contribute to our campaign settings, we need to employ epic XP leveling. The 2 most common ways to give player characters experience points right now is to give them experience points for all the individual tasks that they accomplish, or give them experience points for every single monster that they kill. And the other one is milestone leveling, which usually happens after you complete a story arc. You allow the characters to gain 1 level. So what is epic leveling? Epic, epoch,
Epic, epoch, epic, epoch.
Well, epic leveling is another method that I'd like to give to you guys where you actually allow players to advance anywhere between 2 and 5 levels after they complete a story arc. Now, epic is just noteworthy moments in a player character's life. We're going to pick situations that really have an impact on your campaign and can shift the history of your campaign. After those player characters complete those story arcs or epic moments, you're going to allow them to level up anywhere between 3 and 5 levels, and this is going to really help push your campaign and your story forward, which is what we're really trying to do here. One way to think about that is look at Tolkien's work and specifically take a look at Aragorn. Quick question, take a look at this picture. What do you see? Is it just me? By the time of the events of Lord of the Rings, Aragorn is already pushing 80 years old. Now think about that. Aragorn has adventuring for 80 years up to the point of Lord of the Rings. Clearly things have happened way before that to get him to be the amazing fighter that he is during that movie. What has happened in between? And this is what epic leveling is all about. What we're looking at here is a timeline of Aragorn. He was born in 2931 of the Third Age, but when he's 20 years old in 2952, he finally starts getting into some adventures. Now think about this in your campaign setting where players are anywhere between 1 and 3rd levels, and you're really just trying to get some stories to build up and help contribute to your campaign setting. Now, after that first initial story arc, you're going to tell those players, okay, it's going to be a few years before anything else happens. In this case, we're looking at Aragorn. It takes 4 years before something else notable is going to happen in his life. In the meantime, during that downtime, he meets Arwen, and that's something your players can think about and write up if they want to. In most cases, you can just say that the players are stuck in town or stuck in some type of village, and they're essentially gaining experience over time doing these small skirmishes and small battles to really protect the little town or village that they're in. And this is where you can give players levels until their next big life event. Now you can see here in the timeline, 4 years later, he ends up becoming the 16th chieftain of the Dunedain and meets Gandalf. Now this could be another complete different story arc, and he actually sticks to this campaign for quite some time. You can see here in the timeline that between 2957 to 2980, essentially a time period of about 23 years, Aragorn goes on a series of adventures. Now you can think of all these different bullet points here as story arcs within your campaign that your player character could be a part of, giving them an extra 2 or 3 levels every single time they complete these different scenarios. Now, in the latter half of this Aragorn's epic leveling campaign, you can see that initially there's not much to do. He's looking for Gollum, which we're not really going to discuss. But you can imagine now, after going through these series of different adventures, that he's gained several different levels at a time, 3 levels, 3 levels, 3 levels. By the time we see Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings movies, he is a 20th level character. Now, you as a dungeon master, this is something that I think you need to think about. Because again, most groups do not stay together for 10 to 20 years like we see some of these other people talk about.
It's like turning air into gold.
So in order for you to really milk those players and take as much role-playing essence from them to contribute to your campaign setting, I recommend you do this epic leveling where you have these players going from 3rd, jump to 5th, jump to 9th, jump to 12th, and then potentially you're going to reach that 20th level. In addition, every single epic moment should be something that helps push the narrative in your story. But you could also use epic NPCs. People like Gandalf, people like Gimli, people like Legolas. These guys have been around for hundreds, even thousands of years. So these are NPCs that could be reoccurring. You don't have to tell your players that they're reoccurring, but it's another way for you to make sure you can maintain that story, make sure you can continue to push that story, and use these NPCs to really drive your story forward. Now, you don't want these NPCs to be the highlight of the story. They're just kind of there in the background. They're assisting, they're rescuing your adventuring group potentially, but the point is that they're moving the story forward. And this is essentially what I've done for my world. I have them contribute to my chronology of my campaign setting, driving stories, and in many cases, when the group disbands for whatever reason, someone moves away, and when that happens, I make those notable things that happen in my campaign setting, meaning that if for some reason the campaign ended, I ask the question, what happens now? Now that the heroes are not there, what would actually happen? Without heroes, how does evil prevail? And I continue to write the story that way. And that's it, everybody. I wanted to show you epic leveling, which you can use to really give your players 3 to 5 more levels every single time they complete a story arc that's very important for moving your story forward. In addition, I wanted to introduce those epic NPCs that you can use that'll always kind of be there, or at least help drive the story forward. This is being the selfish DM, but you really need to move that campaign forward. You need to move your story forward. And yes, the DM is a storyteller, and he tells his story by creating conflicts. That is my perspective.
What is our situation, Dad?
This is RPG Boons, where we talk about everything RPG and how everything is RP. If you like the cut of my gibberish, hit the buttons. You know what to do. Leave a comment. I'll get back to you. Until then, see you next time.